Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Hello, welcome back to What's on Tap podcast. I am your host, Martin.
And I am your host, Stefan.
I can never get rid of him.
Oh,
I've never really tried, though.
Oh, so sweet.
So today, I have brought two beers from... I wouldn't call it a new brewery, but a brewery conglomeration.
A newly formed
brewing
experience.
Physical brewery that contains three brewers that previously brewed elsewhere.
Yes.
And we're talking about the Molecule from Arlöv outside of Malmö.
Yes, and Arlöv is what you would call a bedroom community. It's like a it's just a housing area with a few businesses, but it's not really real people. People to live, but there's no real business there.
So they have
quite common in Sweden.
They have like a pizzeria, but they have no real nightlife.
Right. So you have your grocery stores, your pizzeria, your obligatory Thai restaurant, school, and then that's about it.
Yes, that's about it. But it's the place where
Dreams go to die.
Yeah, NerdBrewing, Elm 11, and Chad Beer found a common physical location to brew their beers.
Now, where were they brewing before?
Next door to the old South Plains location, where Lilla Ölfabriken was also situated. But then Lilla Ölfabriken, if I understood it correctly, they kind of withdrew from that entire arrangement. And then NerdBrewing, Elm 11, and Chad were left there, holding all the contracts for renting and stuff. The little I've talked to Hannes of NerdBrewing and Anders of Elm 11, they are extremely happy about this upgrade to their own place. They've made their own decisions.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you own your business as opposed to subletting, I mean, you're going to be much happier with the results, hopefully.
I don't know if they own the building, but
No, but they own the equipment and they built everything from the ground up, and I've seen their progress on Instagram and what they've been doing, and they're really building everything from scratch, where before they just inherited a bunch of stuff from another brewer.
Yes. And I think all that entire corporation, it started individually. So NerdBrewing started brewing at Lilla Ölfabriken. Then Elm 11 started brewing at Ölfabriken. And then they kind of just started cooperating with each other more than with their masters.
Yes. What's up with South Plains? I haven't heard from them in forever.
So South Plains moved to bigger locations to increase their production.
But I haven't seen them put anything out in a very long time.
And I read an article where they said that it was a complete success and that they're doing program. And I think they're heavily investing in kombucha and 3.5% sours.
Okay, that explains, because there's a big kombucha market here in southern Sweden.
Exactly.
So that might explain where their success is coming from.
Yeah.
I think there's only a few sour beers on the shelves. It's a Stumbelag and Hansa. Otherwise, I kind of forget that they're still a brewery, because I don't ever see them.
So the old brewery location, where there used to be at one point, I think 5 or 6 breweries housed or contracted, or I think they have 0. I think it's all got from the old location, Malgänges Bergsgatan.
Yes.
Where a few Hoppaloosa Festival.
Yes. Where's South Plains now? Do you know?
Somewhere north in Malmö, New Harbor.
Okay. Not important.
No.
Anyway, so we're here to talk about Molecule, not South
Plains.
Plains.
So through luck and connections, I managed to get these beers on the day of canning and bottling.
Yes.
So these are among the first.
Yes.
There were more released that same day. The first to come out of the new location, the new Molecule location. And you can even see it on the Elm 11 can.
It's a Molecule.
For any listeners who actually look at the thumbnail of the episodes, you'll see that the NerdBrewing bottle does not have the correct label. I managed to get this one as a review sample before those bottles went to the labeling process.
Nice.
But it has a real. I mean, the bottles on the market now, they have a real label.
They're real labels. They don't have just a handwritten maple tonka label.
Exactly.
All right. Well, the first beer we have is still on Mars. It's a fruited sour ale with raspberry, blackberry, passion fruit, vanilla, coming in at 7.5% ABV.
From Elm 11.
From Elm 11, and it smells amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
so much fresh raspberry.
Yes. Was the licorice in this one?
Nope.
It almost has a little licorice aroma. Maybe I'm tricking myself because I love raspberry licorice combination so much.
Probably. You're probably psychosomatically equating the two.
But it's quite thick and super intense red.
It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So, cheers. That's pretty good. It's got a pretty dry, tart finish to it. But you definitely get a lot of raspberry and blackberry on there.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the aroma, there's not that much blackberry, but it's definitely there in the flavor.
Yeah.
It's the passion fruit that kind of gets lost for me.
Well, for me, when you have such strong flavors like blackberry and raspberry, the passion fruit works as a flavor enhancer. If you have passion fruit on its own, passion fruit's definitely the hero.
Yeah.
But I think when you combine it with other fruits, it becomes the supporting character. I think this one definitely falls into a supporting character role. And then you have that vanilla, which comes and just sweetens it just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a banger. It's almost like a sherbet.
Kind of. There is a kind of a wine-esque finish to it. Like a fermented fruit flavor to it, feel to it. Not so much a I don't know how to describe it. Like a wine cooler kind of fermented fruit kind of flavor.
For me, the finish is more like pits, the berry pits. It's a very dry, almost sticky sensation.
Yeah, it's very, very dry, but it's not like the Mortalis, which is just like a weird fruit pulp syrup almost. It's
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about those beers.
Those kind of smoothie sours have hit the market hard, and I find them difficult to finish. This one is.
I think the problem with the smoothie sours is the texture is so off-putting.
But the texture on this one is great. It looks like it would be more difficult to swallow, but it really isn't.
No, this drinks really, really smooth and very, very easy. I think it's a great, another great summer beer. Because it is just light and fruity, and the 7%, 7.5%, you can't tell.
No.
It's gonna knock you on your butt.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm really, really liking this one.
Another beer I didn't bring was the collaboration between Elm 11 and Chad Beer. It's the Elements Lager version 2. So a modern hopped lager.
Okay.
And I think that's the sweet spot for Chad Beer, because his own beers historically have not been as good as his collaborations.
Okay.
But here, collaborating with Elm 11, he finds his spot more. And I think that's really good, because there are 3 breweries. They can help each other out. I think they'll get a lot of synergy from that.
I think so too. I think they'll get a lot of inspiration and styles and start doing more and more stuff.
Just helping each other brew and.
Well, I'm really hoping we start seeing more creative beers from NerdBrewing, not just the stouts, but some of the saisons and IPAs and stuff that we've tried from his Alpha series, which have been.
It's a beta series.
No, the Alpha, which are the ones that he never brings to market. He makes them for like parties or just to brew or something, and those have been really good too. And you're kind of like, well, why don't you make more beers like this? Like, bring out another IPA or bring out another saison or something. I mean, let's.
Yeah, but there was a beer a while ago called Discovery by Reflection, which was a sour with raspberry, rhubarb, and toasted coconut.
Oh, I missed that one.
That was a NerdBrewing Elm 11 collaboration. So they've already started this journey.
How you had it 3 times? I've never even heard of it. You were like, oh, we had it together. I'm like, damn.
You've had it with me.
I loved it too, apparently.
I've brought it to your place. But you might have been drunk.
It's very possible. I had it in connection with a lot of other beers. I saw the people it was checked in with, so definitely had it with some other beers.
Yes. So that journey has already started. More collaborations, more experimentation, and that's exactly what we need.
Excellent. All right, so what do you give this one?
It's a difficult one. I want to give it so high. Strong 4.25, maybe weak 4.5, because I could just down the remainder of this.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it is for me.
But it is really
good. It is really, really good. All right, so next we have...
Stacktrace. I'll need to find, because we don't have the correct label.
It's got maple syrup, I'm assuming, as opposed to maple leaves, or just maple Canadians, and tonka beans.
There. My Google Foo is tricking me. Yeah, so it's maple syrup and... Okay. Imperial milk stout brewed with maple syrup and aged on toasted tonka beans at 12.4%
nice.
ABV.
All right, so how do you feel about tonka beans?
Sometimes I don't like them.
So what is a tonka bean? It's like a vanilla...
It's some kind of vanilla chocolate wannabe.
Okay. Yeah. Because this has kind of a cinnamon-esque...
Cinnamon, nutty aroma.
Yeah,
that's the tonka bean, definitely.
Yeah, and I get a lot of that on here. I don't get maple.
No,
so
let's
much.
see if we get it.
It's not like CBS, maple kind of flavors on the top, but it's definitely...
No, but it poured really nicely. It is a thick black color with like a coffee, slight brown.
Yeah. What's interesting was when I poured it, it didn't carbonate at all. But now that it's been sitting in the glass for a little bit, and I shake it around a little bit, then the carbonation you can see kind of kicking in. But when I poured it in the glass, no head. So it's very interesting to see that there is some carbonation going on here, which gives me hope.
Cheers.
All right. I also like is there's a oiliness to the side of the glass. When you agitate it, the micro bubbles kind of beat up, and it looks like a little galaxy in your glass, and it just gives you a lot of hope for what you're about to ingest. So what do you think?
Now that I've tried it, it's good. I get a kind of marzipan flavor. Do you like marzipan?
I do.
I love marzipan.
Yeah. Almond paste for those that aren't in the know.
Is marzipan not universally known?
Yeah, maybe not.
What?
It's just it's much more European than it is outside of Europe.
Oh, well, sorry me for not appealing to the new world lowbrow.
The New World Order has its demands. They want to make sure they're being kept.
Yes. It seems like we're it only has 3 check-ins global.
Ooh, we're about to be 4 or 5.
So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It has a quite nice mouthfeel. It doesn't completely coat your mouth with those sticky oils, but
I'd say there's a lot of really rich roasted notes. You can tell a really hard roast on the malt bill because it's got a slightly burnt kind of character to it.
Yep.
I see the maples kind of missing for me. Like I don't get maple on this very much.
I think it would this beer would have been much more dry cinnamony without that balancing maple. But I do agree with you. I'm not tasting the maple.
Yeah.
But I think it's saving it from being one of those tonka beers I don't like.
Yeah. Like it's not overly sweet. I would say the roasted notes are definitely prominent.
Yes.
There's a very dry finish, but it's very sweet on the lips. Like in the front of my mouth, I still get a lot of sweetness from it.
I think that's thanks to maple syrup.
Milk stout part.
Yes, of course.
It has a milk that should be make it also kind of sweet. I guess the tonka is giving it more character, but it feels like I think I know what your problem is with the tonka beans. It gives it flavor, but it's not enough of one type of flavor. It's just like flavor.
Yeah.
So you're like kind of like, it tastes kind of like something, but not really enough of any one thing that I'm kind of like, oh, there's like cinnamon, or there's chocolate, or there's roasted coffee, or there's strong vanilla. It's just kind of like flavor.
Yeah. A little of...
Yeah.
But I like this. It's one of... it handles tonka well compared to others that I've... some of them I've actually disliked. Some tonka bean imperial stouts. Yeah. So much that before we started recording this, we made a thing of it, where I said, "Oof, now I need to hold back my tonka dislike."
And then I was like, "What do you have against tonka toys?" And he was like, "Well, I think their trucks are really rugged, but they're a little, dangerous because of the jagged edges." And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's just part of growing up in the '70s."
Wasn't tonka toys plastic?
Not when I grew up. They were solid metal. And they could become jagged and rusted. They were quite literally a what do you call it? A potential case of lockjaw just waiting to happen.
Man, I'm thinking about the wrong toys.
Tonka toys were the backhoe and the dump trucks, and they weren't like small. They were like, actually quite large. Let's just say you could put your knee in the back of it and scoot along like a little scooter.
I might have actually had the Tonka Classic Steel Mighty Dump Truck.
Yeah,
in metal,
and it was real solid metal. It was quite an impressive toy. I think they're all plastic now, which is a real shame, because the original Tonka trucks,
they could take a beating.
Yeah, you could literally take a hammer to them, and it wouldn't even dent. So I think we've kind of wrapped up this beer since we're talking about Tonka trucks. So what do you give this one?
A 4.25.
I'm gonna give it a 3.75.
Ooh.
I think the Tonka doesn't really bring all the right elements to the party. It's like a cheap seasoning that it could be a little bit better, and I don't think the maple is there. Excuse me. In fact, if you were to blindfold me and have me taste this, I wouldn't be able to tell you there was maple in it. And I think that's a problem. Again, if you tell me there's an adjunct in it and I don't taste it and I don't experience it, if a tree falls in the wood, it doesn't make a noise.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna give it a 3.75. I think that the roasted notes are really savior, give it character, bring it to life. And the fact it's so alive and you don't feel it at all, just speaks to the quality of Hannes's brewing. So I think the base beer is really, really solid. I think the adjuncts don't do service to the beer that it's a part of.
No. And there's another aspect of nerd brewing. I think you and I have been quite scared on this. They seem to keep getting struck with nerd brewing bottle they find sour. When I follow their check-ins, it's basically every single nerd brewing bottle that they ever get there, sour, and no one else seems to be affected by this. Maybe they're just extremely unlucky. And I know Hannes has tried to narrow down what could be causing this in his production line. But now it's a new brewery, new context.
I think it shows a lot of possibility, and
this one doesn't have any, not even an inkling.
No, nothing sour either. I mean, in the sour beer there is sour, but it's supposed to be there.
Exactly.
But the stout is actually a really, really well made stout, and I think it's absolutely base beer is absolutely delicious. So it just gives me a lot of hope for molecule, a lot of potential, a lot of upwards and onwards kind of
Excelsior
movement for them. Exactly. So this has been What's on Tap Podcast.com. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. I don't know.
One of those signs that a homeless man wears.
We have hired them to patrol the streets of Malmo.
Yeah.
With the Listen to What's on Tap podcast. Until next time.
Keep drinking, members.